Hey everyone, I'm John Giesick. Welcome to the C-Suite Sherpa podcast, where we shine a spotlight on business experts and resources that you should know. Super excited to have Frank Smith here with us today. Frank is a speaker, a trainer, and a coach, and he specializes in business culture and employee engagement. The name of his business is Driving Happiness at Work. So, Frank, welcome to our podcast. Let's start off with you telling us, giving us a snapshot of your business and what clients you help the most.
Great. Thanks, John. Super happy to be on your podcast and share a few ideas about what I do with your crowd. I help business leaders that are overwhelmed grow their organizations and build great cultures. I do that by providing training and coaching that focuses on business culture and employee engagement, because if you have high employee engagement, you have higher profits in your business. So that's how I help businesses, is to build their profits through employee engagement, which makes a win-win for the employees and the owners.
That's awesome, Frank. I appreciate you sharing that. So, describe in detail what type of company your services work best for. Meaning, where are they in the development of their company? Have they been around for a long time? Have they're just getting started? Give us a clue on, the size of the company, maybe the C-suite size, and help us narrow down who would be a good referral for you.
The companies that I tend to work with the most, if you got been around for 10 years or longer, they probably have 50 employees or more, up to around 1,500. What I find is companies below 50 employees tend not to have the budget to do professional development or whatever, although I have worked with companies as small as 6 employees. When they get larger, they have a bigger budget or internal people that handle that. So a lot of times it's established companies, 50 to 1,500 employees, somewhere between $2 million and $250 million in revenue, and they're looking to figure out, how do we create a better business? And usually it's people related, and that's the part that I love doing, is helping support leaders learn how to engage with their employees better, which gets the employees to engage with the business better. So startup companies can use me. A lot of times their main priority is not building a culture. They haven't got to that point. I can actually help them in the early stages develop some of that culture, but usually the companies that engage with me have been around for a little bit longer than a startup.
Yeah, that makes total sense. You got to find a sweet spot where people can actually afford the services, they actually need it, and that's next on their agenda. When you go into the companies, Frank, who are you working with specifically? Is it just the C-suite teams, or are they letting you work with all the employees, maybe down the chain managers? Who do you end up actually doing the work with?
Yeah, it's a great question. The companies that I have the most success with let me work with the C-suite leaders, and usually all of them in some way, shape, or form. A lot of times I'm coaching all of the C-suite leaders, but then they also let me work down the organization. So I'm working with mid-level managers. I've been on third shift at manufacturing companies, helping a brand new machine shop supervisor learn how to become a supervisor. He's used to running a machine, and now he's got to lead the people that run the machines, which is a whole different job than what he originally signed up for. So I love getting to work farther down the organization with new leaders, with leaders that are experienced, and help them get re-engaged in that. But really, I can work through every level of the organization, but it has to start at the top. If the C-suite's not bought into trying to do the stuff that I'm teaching down lower in the organization, we'll make some progress, but not near the progress we can if we have the whole C-suite bought in on what we're trying to do with the organization.
Yeah, Frank, that makes sense. You reminded me of when you said the guy at the machine shop is now going to be a manager. It reminds me of some of the home services. I have a home service business where the trade guys are really good at doing the work, and then they say, "Well, I'm going to start up my own business," and they know nothing about running a business, but they're going to make that jump, and a lot of times they're taking a leap that's not going to end well for them.
Yeah, no, it's the biggest change we make in our job. You're a great accountant, but now you're managing accountants. That's a completely different role than doing somebody's taxes for them. You may be an expert on that, but you don't know how to deal with the people issues that are coming at you. And that's where I step in and love to help people see how to do that and take some of the mystery out of that for them.
One of my biggest referral partners was a home inspection company out here in Chicago. The owner of the home inspection company has 20, 25 home inspectors working with him. He's never done a home inspection before in his life. He's not a home inspector, never done an inspection. He's just a great manager of people in a home services business. It was a great fit for him.
It can work really well if you've got that people side.
What would you say separates your business? What separates your business from everybody else?
I've been an entrepreneur for 30 plus years. I had a 20-year career in manufacturing. I was in retail business. I had a distribution business. I've been a business owner in multiple industries. I understand the emotional side of the business and not just the theoretical side. There's a lot of coaches out there that have read a lot of books and they can tell you a lot of information about what you should do. I actually know what that feels like to implement. I know the fact that if you're having to have a difficult conversation with an employee, you probably haven't slept well for the last 2 nights. And I can help talk you through those pieces of it in addition to just the theoretical piece of it. I always tell people somebody who hasn't done what I've done can get you about 80% of the way there. I can get you all the way there because I've sat in your spot before. And I can't think of a time when I've had a client come up with an issue that somewhere in my 30-year career of running my own businesses that I haven't experienced as well. I mean, everything from employees pulling a gun on me to having to fire a family member to having a business partner sue you. I've been in all of those spots and I know what it's like. And I think that's the advantage I bring to the table, that emotional awareness of what it's actually like to sit in your spot versus just, oh, well, you need to have a strategy for this or for that, or here's what this theory will tell you. That only gets you so far down the road, and I bring the other piece to the table.
Yeah, that's a great differentiation, Frank. There's a lot of people that, been through the classes, check the boxes, and they're just out getting their real world experiences. They're just starting to collect them, and you got a huge, long background of collecting those experiences. So that's
Yeah,
really
and an example of that is when I got my certification to be an executive coach. I learned all these great tools and all these great questions, and I came back and I started implementing that with my clients. They were like, "What are you doing? We hired you because you've been in this job before and you know what to tell us to do. Just tell us what to do. Don't ask us all these questions." And so I was like, "Okay."
yeah.
Good to
It's
know this information, but my clients really just want me to get to the point and help them figure out the problem, the solution, instead of chatting through all of the stuff that coaching certification teaches you to do.
yeah, take them through 15 exercises to get to point X, or we could just get you to point X.
Yeah. And
Got
so
it.
my clients will say, we hired you because you've got 30 years experience of running business, not because you have a certification in coaching. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. What
yep.
what about your industry, Frank? What's the biggest challenge you see coming up for your coaching employee engagement industry? What's going to be the biggest challenge for you?
I think the biggest challenge out there right now is people want to overcomplicate what it takes to achieve employee engagement. There's books out there that think they know how to get to it. It really is simple. It's just not easy. It boils down to getting to know people and tools that you need as a leader to get to know the people that work for you. I always tell people if I want people engaged, I have to learn about them, find out what their goals are, and then figure out if working for me helps them accomplish their goals. If it doesn't, they shouldn't work for me. We are never going to be online. It's going to be like I'm driving a bus and they're on a bus that's going somewhere they don't want to go. And you're never going to get your employee engaged. You just have to get to the simple fundamentals that say, I've got to care about you as a person. I've got to find out what you want to do in your life. And then I've got to figure out if working here helps you accomplish that. And if it does, we're good to go. And I can get your engagement by staying in tune with helping you stay on track with your personal goals, because you will help me achieve my business goals if I'm helping you achieve your personal goals. And I think that's the part people miss the most is they want to have some easy silver bullet that if I can just wave this wand and you're going to engage with me magically. It's going to take time and effort. And I don't see a lot of coaches that tell that to their clients up front, that you're going to have to go back to the basics and do those really well like you do in anything, and that's what's going to move you forward. And I don't see enough of that in our industry.
Yeah, that's great that you said checking to make sure that your potential client's going to be a good fit for you, but that they're ready to make that sort of commitment.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be an exercise that's going to crash and burn.
The worst clients I've ever worked with are clients that hire me with good intentions to work as a coach for someone in their organization that didn't ask for a coach. And so they're like, why am I talking to you? I didn't want to talk to a coach. Am I in trouble? Am I about to get fired? Those relationships really don't work. If someone asks, if you say, hey, if you would like a coach, we will provide a coach for you, those are the people you want to work with in the organization. But the clients that just hire me and start handing me out to people that they think are a problem employee, that's not where you get the big benefit from coaching.
Yeah, I can see someone on the other end of that saying, "Hey, John, I'd like you to meet your new coach, Frank." And I'm like, I guess I need a coach."
The first thought that goes through their mind is, am I about to get fired?
Right.
And sadly, a lot of people hire me because they're about to fire. I had a client one time say, don't tell this person we're about to fire them, but you're their last hope. And I'm like, they won't listen to me if you don't tell them. It's like, I need to coach you and not them.
Sounds like there's something else going on over there that needs some attention.
Yeah, sometimes they do try to hire you to do their dirty work for them instead of being willing to do the work it takes to actually be a good leader.
Oh, that's great, Frank. I appreciate that. Hey, listen, we're going to loosen up the ties a little bit. We're going to do a lightning round so that way the viewers get to know you a little bit better
Okay.
on a personal level. I'm just going to ask you some quick questions, a couple of them not so quick, and just give us a brief answer and then we'll wrap it up. Fair enough?
Okay, sure.
All right, Frank, let's start off with coffee or tea. You a coffee guy or a tea guy?
Coffee, black, no cream, no sugar, just straight out, and the stronger the better. I like the spoon to have a little bit of, where it stands up.
Stands up by itself. Great. How about cats or dogs?
Dogs for sure.
All right. And Frank, I don't know if you know this or not, but there's a zombie apocalypse coming. So
Okay.
if you could only grab one thing, what are you taking with you?
Oh, wow. Cell phone came to my mind first, sadly.
That's it. I mean, that's our toolbox, right? For sure.
Yep.
What about a favorite quote? Maybe some favorite quote or phrase, something that you think about often that was really impactful for
Yeah,
you?
it came from a book I read years ago called The Invisible Spotlight. And he starts the book off by saying, and it's about management. He says, your people will talk about you tonight at dinner to their family. You get to decide if it's good or bad. And that's just always stuck in my head that, man, that's exactly right. You're going to go home from work and you're going to be like, I had a crappy day at work because my boss did this, or I had a great day at work because my boss is the best. And it's up to me, the boss, on what that person goes home and tells their spouse and their kids at dinner that night.
Wow, you just ruined my day.
It ruined mine when I read it the first time. I was like, oh no.
Frank, what about a favorite movie or, if you ever get a chance to sit down on a couch in front of the TV, what's on? What do you watch?
I'm a big fan of the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible, kind of mindless entertainment. If it's not that, I'll reach out to Matt Damon. So that kind of movie is my go-to if I've just got time to kill.
What about a book? Give us a glimpse of something you're reading right now, or maybe a favorite book you read in the past.
Probably the one I just finished reading that a client told me about was called Super Communicators. It really dives in and helps you understand better communication techniques. The one I read just before that was How to Really Know a Person. It gets back to that relationship piece, which is at the core of everything that I teach clients. Those are two that are hot and fresh on my mind. If you go back a little bit longer, anything by Tom Peters, Excellence Now, In Search of Excellence was his original book. Just a big Tom Peters fan.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that. Let's touch on your bucket list a little bit. Give me something that was on your bucket list that you already got to cross off, and give me something that's still on there that you know you're going to get done.
Okay. So been a car racing fan all my life. I actually went and got my license where I could have become a professional race car driver. So check that off the bucket list. That was a big moment for me. I have been fascinated with Dubai and Abu Dhabi and kind of the UAE for a long time. So that's from a travel standpoint, that's top on my bucket list is to get over and spend some time just checking out and seeing what Dubai and Abu Dhabi are like.
Oh, that's fantastic. I've never been. That'd be exciting. So let's land the plane, bring it home a little bit. In your professional career, as you've been moving along, what was one of the biggest obstacles that you had to overcome personally? And share with us the lesson you learned from it.
Yeah, so I would say that I was my biggest obstacle to overcome. I can point to times in my career where I didn't have enough confidence in what I believed was the right thing to do or what I wanted to do in my organization. And I let either a business partner or an employee have their way instead of me getting my way. Some of that was lack of confidence in my own idea. Some of that was just trying to be polite and let them have their way. And what I found was that over time, we usually ended up either always going back and needing to do it my way because their way didn't work or get us where we were trying to get to, or we just flat out missed an opportunity and we never had that chance again to do it. I've learned to trust my gut more and to go with, no, this is what I think we have to do. It comes across that way when I'm like, thanks for your input, but we're going to go this direction and not do what you want to do. I'm trying to find a better balance there of leaning into what I believe is right first instead of wasting 6 or 18 months and then coming back around and implementing it later.
That's great, Frank. I appreciate you sharing that. I could totally relate to that for sure. So,
It's
Frank, people are going to be watching this video. They're going to want to reach out to you. What's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, I do a lot on LinkedIn. You'll find some videos with tips on how to build culture, be a better leader. So you can look for Frank Smith, the business culture guy, on LinkedIn. You can email me at frank@drivinghappinessatwork.com. That's frank@drivinghappinessatwork.com. If anybody emails me, I'll send them a book that breaks down culture into 16 steps and lets you analyze whether you have an answer to all of those 16 areas of your culture. Most people think there's 3 or 4 areas that make up their culture. Most of the time, people will tell you about the last party they had if you ask them about their culture. But this workbook helps you identify the 16 things that your employees are trying to align with. And I'll send them a free copy of that if they'll just reach out to me via email.
Well, that sounds awesome, Frank. I appreciate you offering that to the listeners. So we'll put all that information on the video notes so people can reach out to you. Hey, Frank, you know what? I really appreciate talking to you today, man. And I appreciate you taking the time. Let's connect soon.
Yeah, that sounds great. It's been fun. I've enjoyed it.